Welcome back, everyone. For our final full day in Japan, we decided to go to the Universal Studios amusement park. So the night before, I bought tickets online. And let me tell you, this was the most infuriatingly complicated process I've ever gone through for something so simple. So I thought that I could just go to the Universal Studios Japan website and buy tickets there, like any other amusement park that I've been to. But apparently, you can't even buy tickets on this site. When I open the Buy Tickets drop-down and click through the pages, it directs me to a different website called usjticketing.com. This page says that it's operated by an authorized ticket reseller, which is weird. That makes it sound like it's a separate legal entity apart from Universal Studios. I don't like this. I don't like dealing with resellers because that adds another level of complexity and lack of accountability if something goes wrong. Especially when I'm in another country and I have a strictly limited time window, I always prefer to buy directly from the service provider, even if it's more expensive. If I had just found this USJ ticketing website on Google, I wouldn't know to trust it. For all that I know, it could be one of a dozen sites that try to resell Universal tickets. And on the previous page, it literally says resale tickets are not accepted in the park. So what's the truth? Why do they do this? Not only does it make the process more complicated and confusing for the user, but they're not using their brand recognition effectively. Universal Studios is a very well-known and trusted brand, but what the heck is JTR Web? I've never heard of that. So after checking several travel sites and forum posts, I was fairly well convinced that USJ Ticketing is the single legitimate reseller of tickets for Universal Studios Japan. So I started the process of buying the tickets. My main interest in going to Universal Studios was to see Super Nintendo World. It's like a separate park within the park that has its own admission system. The website says that an entry pass to Nintendo World is included with an express pass, so I tried to buy 2 of those along with the tickets. In most parks that have an express pass system, the pass can be used on just about every ride to access a shorter wait time. It's a bit different at Universal Studios Japan. Each express pass can only be used on a certain subset of rides. There are between 4 and 7 rides listed on each pass, and there are up to 10 different options listed with different combinations of rides. There are a lot of choices to be made. I know that my sister likes Harry Potter, so I just selected a pass that lists 2 Harry Potter rides, and I advanced to the next page. But when I go to checkout, it tells me that there are no items in my cart. I didn't know if the website was broken or what, so I just tried again from the beginning, and I selected a few different pass options to see if anything would work. After 4 attempts, I figured out that it was giving me this error message because the fast passes that I had selected were sold out. See, when I click to select a date, the calendar is all empty and I can't select anything. And this was going to keep happening because every single fast pass option was sold out. If you want to get a fast pass at Universal Studios Japan, you realistically have to book about a month in advance. Look, I get it. This is obviously a very in-demand service. Enjoying an amusement park to the fullest requires a fair amount of planning, and you're at a significant disadvantage if you're traveling internationally and you don't know exactly which day you'll be available to go to the park until the day before. But if they're all sold out, why are they even appearing as options on the purchasing page? And why doesn't it tell me that the fast passes are what's causing the error? Why does it make me start over from the beginning and keep retrying until I figure it out? This is just horrifically bad design for a multi-billion-dollar company, and it's still broken as I'm making this video, a year later. Fortunately, it is still possible to get into Super Nintendo World without a fast pass. I can get physical admittance tickets at a kiosk within the park. Entrance to Nintendo World is restricted within time slots that are indicated on each ticket, so we'll be at the mercy of whatever time slots are still available by the time that we find the kiosk. Alright, so I unselected the fast passes and went to the checkout with just the park admittance tickets in my cart. And then my bank blocked the transaction. I specifically told my bank that I would be traveling in Japan, and I paid for plenty of other items by card while I was there. It was never a problem. The one time that my bank decides to flag a transaction, it's the most important one of the trip. My credit card provider was set up to text me a verification link to confirm that this was actually me purchasing something in a different country. Usually, that would be a very simple solution, but I wasn't able to receive the text message this time because I was in Japan, using a Japanese SIM card, and also completely out of range of my American mobile network. What I ended up doing is that I called a family member on WhatsApp and arranged to pay for the tickets with their credit card. I paid them back when I got back to the States. After that multiple-hour ordeal, I finally had tickets for this shitty amusement park. It had better be worth it. There was no reason for the process to be that complicated. When we were in Tokyo, we just took the train to Disneyland on a whim, and we were able to buy tickets online in front of the gate in less than 10 minutes. We could not have done that for Universal. Alright, it's finally the day of our admittance. We would have had to take a pretty indirect path to get to the park by train, and I wanted to eliminate unpredictable factors as much as possible after all of that. So I decided this was a good time to try a Japanese taxicab. It was a very pleasant ride through the city. The driver came in his suit and his white gloves. In Japan, taxicabs are considered more of a luxury, rather than a mundane mode of transportation that one might use on a daily basis. That makes sense when the subway system is very well built and suitable for most people's uses. It started to rain slightly while we were in the cab. It had nearly stopped by the time that we got to the park, but it drizzled intermittently. Fortunately, that didn't interfere with any of the events that we'd planned to engage in, and the rain kept the temperature relatively cool. We got here at 9:05, just a few minutes after opening. There's the iconic Universal Globe. Right at the entrance, there's a big kiosk selling tickets to a One Piece live show. We didn't know much about the show, but we made sure to buy tickets before going anywhere else. I'm sure those sell out quickly. Here's a big covered area with a lot of shops and attractions. We could go a few different ways. There's a short Jujutsu Kaisen movie in the theater. It's shown a couple times per day. I don't particularly care for that anime, so we never made a point of coming back for it. We passed this building that looks like an empty movie studio. We stopped just because there was no line. Alright, it's just a bunch of touchscreen games for kids. Here's a sliding puzzle. And this is like a coloring book. I can change the colors of the background assets repeatedly, but it will only let me change the colors of Woody Woodpecker's body parts once each. Weird. Anyway, let's find a real attraction. Okay. There's a small Pokemon area, which is its own separate thing apart from Super Nintendo World. There's a Pokemon dancing event at 10:30. That may be worth watching for a couple of minutes, if we happen to be passing by. My sister and I both like Spider-Man, so we decided that this would be the first ride of the day. It's kind of funny to walk through a waiting area that's based on the Daily Bugle. It's like a personal shrine to J. Jonah Jameson. There's an animated video that plays on several displays in the queue area. The character designs seem to be based on the 90s cartoon, but it's mostly original animation. This is like a curious relic of the park's early years. You usually don't see something that looks this old. Clearly, a lot of effort went into this. They even dubbed it into Japanese. It's unfortunate that the audio is barely audible. The video is pretty long. It's more than 20 minutes. From what I can gather, Jameson is trying to show off this newly designed vehicle called Scoop, which is intended to collect information for news reporting. Bienvenidos! Here's Peter's desk. I'm surprised that he even has one, with how dismissive Jameson acts towards him. And a dark room. That's a very cool detail. This room has another animated video and a model of the Scoop vehicle. And now we get inside the Scoop for the ride. Got our awesome 3D glasses. The ride was very cool. The story is that the Sinister Six are stealing the Statue of Liberty, and we're basically just along for the ride while Spider-Man fights them. It's not a very fast-moving ride. The movement is choreographed to weave within very tight corridors that contain practical effects, and it's also synchronized with the actions that appear on a few video screens. When Electro shocks the vehicle with an electrical cable, it shakes violently. The most impressive effect was when we were trapped in Doc Ock's tractor beam. It really felt like we were suddenly being compelled upward by an external force, and the 3D effect really adds to the experience. At the end, Spider-Man takes out a camera and takes a picture of us. That's clever. It's a diegetic way to explain why there's a big picture of us looking disoriented and bemused at the end of the ride. And it feels slightly less weird that the park is trying to sell this picture to us. This actually isn't the original 3D animation associated with the ride. This ride in Japan is a recreation of the original Amazing Spider-Man ride in Florida, which opened in 1999, and both versions got visual upgrades starting in 2013. The most recent version of the animation looks quite detailed and modern in its designs. It matches the dark atmosphere of the ride. The previous version definitely looks like its animation from the 90s. It's significantly brighter, and it reminds me of the appearance of the Spider-Man games on the PS1. Both animations follow the same sequence of events, and as far as I can tell, the motion of the vehicle probably hasn't changed significantly through the upgrades. The Spider-Man ride in Osaka was actually retired earlier this year, so I'm glad that I was able to experience it. Let's see what's in the gift shop. Sorry, ladies, but the Spider-Man underwear stays on during sex. I bought this cool holographic shirt that's based on the ride. It has the 5 villains, as well as a shot of Spider-Man hanging in a city block. We looked at some of the restaurants to think about what we might be eating later. Hey, you want some Mets brand water? There's an attraction based on the Biohazard video games that looked interesting. It has a timed entry system, so we reserved tickets for a later time slot. I like that, and I think that more parks should make use of time slots. On a busy day, you're going to have to wait one way or another, whether you're on the line or having to wait for your assigned time slot. You might as well be able to walk around and go to other attractions while you're waiting. The water looks really nice over here. We walked by the Pokemon stage again. It was right in front of the Spider-Man ride. Just a few minutes before 10:30, they announced that the event was cancelled because of the rain. A lot of people who had gathered walked away disappointed. I feel like they definitely could have announced that sooner. Most of the rain fell before the park even opened. I'm glad that we weren't waiting for the event. We decided that we wanted to ride a roller coaster, so we chose the Jurassic Park themed one. This could be good. Yeah, kind of, yeah. It's not bad. Nice, there are nets. So you'll be perfectly safe if you happen to fall. We had to put all of our accessories in an electronic locker. There was a surprisingly complicated system to get a printed QR code and figure out which locker was assigned to us. We eventually figured it out. Alright. I think that the Japanese girls who sat in front of me stated it best. That ride was yabai. It was fun, but the force is extremely intense, more so than most roller coasters I've been on. I was clenching my muscles the whole time, just trying not to have my body whipped around. It really took a lot of energy out of me. I'm glad that we did this before eating anything. They clearly took the Jurassic Park restaurant and just slapped a One Piece poster on top of it. They didn't even hide the dinosaur logo. Look, I get it. Jurassic Park isn't as popular at this exact moment, and they have to be able to change the restaurants frequently for whatever seasonal event they're promoting. Orangey orange. To be clear, this is banana flavored? It got surprisingly hot already. It's good that they have these misters. Yeah, it's so misty. There are no droplets, it's just gas. Yeah. Right, yeah. There's a really cool animatronic dinosaur show. I'm thinking there's probably a person inside the bipedal dinosaur. It looks like they're being very deliberate about how they step. Their balance is impressive. Just letting its dino cloaca hang out. Alright. Oh no! That sentient leaf is drowning! Save it! It probably wants to go in the bush. Or the ground, anyway.
It's down there.
Good. We found the entrance to Super Nintendo World. To gain entry, we have to get tickets at a kiosk, which is supposedly in the Jaws area, which is on the other side of Waterworld. Wow, I thought that Waterworld were just a generic name that covers all ocean-themed attractions and properties. That would make sense. That's why the One Piece show is here. But no, the area is actually based on that terrible post-apocalyptic movie, Waterworld. It was the most overpriced movie production of the 90s, and it was a complete flop on its original release. Why would they make a whole area based on that awful movie?
Can we ask where Jaws is?
Yeah. Alright, here we are in Jaws land. Wow, they serve actual shark meat here. I've never seen that before. This is the second most significant culture shock I've felt on this trip, after those disgusting Canadian cigarettes. Alright, we found this sign that says that tickets are being distributed for Nintendo World, but it's just on the side of a random intersection. There's no indication of where the actual kiosk is. I tried walking down the path that's next to it, but I didn't find anything there. It just leads to a completely different part of the park. I crossed paths with another group of gaijin who were having the exact same problem. There is a QR code to reserve tickets in their mobile application, but of course, we didn't have any mobile service in the park. My sister finally figured it out after a few minutes. The kiosk is on a separate path that branches out from the one I was on. It's hidden behind some trees. I didn't even see it coming from Jaws. I would have had to turn around completely. Why is everything about this park so complicated? Anyway, we finally got our freaking Mario tickets. Our entrance window started at 7:20, and it overlapped slightly with the One Piece show, so we figured that Nintendo World would be the final area that we'd visit. We went to the Harry Potter area next. Yeah. Wow, this place is huge. It's impressive that they were able to put in this much effort to make an area based on a single property. Here's a live show. It's interesting that they were able to get mostly Western actors. They say their lines in Japanese first, and then repeat them in English. That's a unique solution for multilingual audiences.
Right.
Now, let the hip rear and keep moving good. Please wing, make her fast. Step up. Then give her a bow. そして、パクお辞儀をします。こんな風に。
こちらが先にお辞儀をするのが礼儀正しいんですね。
Keep your eyes on, please wing. Try not to blink or look away. Then you wait. See if she bows back. What if she doesn't bow back?
そうだよ。わざわざ今日返してくれなかったら。It says here to keep bowing.
We'll get to that later.
Is that done? なんだ簡単じゃないか。
気をつけて。
よし、みたいく。お辞儀しようぜ。うわ、シートに取ったくれ。手上げっぱい。
怖がらせたからよ。Now, we must approach slowly. Just so we don't startle her.
The accent is so over-exaggerated. That was interesting. My sister read online that there was a Fantastic Beasts live show as well, and she wanted to see that, but we couldn't figure out where it was supposed to be. I asked an employee at a merchandise kiosk, and he believed that the show had been discontinued. My sister wasn't satisfied with his unsure answer, so I asked him to look into the matter further. He was very helpful. He checked his online employee forum, and within a few minutes, he figured out that the show would be held in this building, which he called the Owl House. We got here just in time for the beginning. Only about 10 people gathered to see the show, so Universal clearly wasn't promoting it very much. This was the only time in Japan that I actually had to speak Japanese to find something that we were looking for. I just think that's slightly ironic, since it's based on an English language property.
思ったより早く着いたな。ちょっと休憩しちゃおうかな。あれ、皆さんこんにちは。こんにちは。どうしたんですか。こんなに集まって。皆さん休憩でもしていたんですか。そうなんですね。僕もね、ちょっと時間があるので、よかったら少しお話しして。ありがとうございます。じゃあちょっとクイズ出しますね。皆さんが今いるこの場所の名前、わかる人はいますか。わかる人。全然手が上がらないですね。では頭の上をご覧ください。ほら、ぐるっと見渡してみて。黒たちが見えますでしょうか。ここは僕がいるにある黒瓶です。黒たちは世界中に郵便をお届けするのをこの今でよかったと思っているんです。実は僕も黒をやってで、この電気のお届けしたりはできません。こんな風に箱に荷物を積んで毎日すぐせと運んでるっていうわけなんです。ご紹介をくれました。僕はポストマンです。ありがとうございます。郵便配達をしています。まあ、荷物の中身は、例えば大切なプレゼント、あとはサプライズの何か、間違いなく豪華なものも入ってたりするんですけれど、ちょっと皆さんで進めましょうか。じゃあ、1、2、3、3つ一緒に数えてもらっていいですか。では、いきますよ。
1、2、3。
ちょっと待って。もしマネオーカイこだわっちゃったらどうしましょう。大きい雲に変身したりしたら怖くないですか。怖いですよね。いやーでも大切な荷物なので必ず僕が必要なんですね。じゃあ皆さんもの遅いので大きな声で数えてください。お願いしますね。ではいきますよ。1、2、3。なんだ全然大丈夫じゃないですか。おっとごめんね。杖は必要なさそうですね。いやーでも大変なことになりそうです。皆さんこの子が何か分かりますか。何方。リーフラー、大正解です。この子はリーフラーって言います。リーフラーは普段地面の下の長い巣穴の中にいて、そこに宝物をたくさんしまい込んでるんです。宝物をどう巣穴に持っていくかはちょっとなくなるのでまたいつかお話ししますね。それにしても誰が何のためにリーフラーを黒瓶で送ろうとしてるんだ。 いいアイディアとは思えないですよね。ちょっと待ってください。やっぱりそうだ。フードラグ魔法菓子の手荷物に自分で入り込んだってこれ。返してよ、返せって。皆さん見てるだけじゃなくて応援してもらってもいいですか。ありがとうございます。本当お願いします。誰ですか、ニフラ応援してる人。いや、取れましたよ皆さん。ありがとうございます。ニフラもうこれもらっておくからね。あ、そうだ、こんな機会なかなかないので、よかったら皆さんカメラ構えてくださいね。ありがとうございます。じゃあちょっと撮影タイムにしましょうか。ではいきますよ。ワン、ツー、スリー。撮れてます？あ、邪魔でしたか。すごい何か本気でうなずいて失礼しました。ほら、みんなニフラー撮りたいんだって。ニフラーほらあっち見てあげて、キラキラしたのがたくさんあるよ。ニフラーほらこっちも見てあげて。レンズ光ってるよ。
That was fun. The actor was quite energetic. The small animatronic is impressive. It has a wide range of motions. I don't know what role that platypus creature plays in the movie, but it looks like the kind of mascot character that's designed specifically to sell marketable plushies. We even found them in the store. Next we went on the Forbidden Journey ride. Instead of electronic lockers, this ride has traditional lockers with removable keys. I prefer that. Keep it simple. Why are they in jail? This isn't really a roller coaster in the traditional sense. We got into roller coaster style seats, which were connected to a large articulated robotic arm, and the arm is what actually moves on the track, while also extending and bending to simulate the quick motions of flying through the air. So the vehicle actually moves a relatively short distance across the ride. There weren't any large ups and downs and loops, as you may see with an actual roller coaster. The reason why the designers restricted the ride's range of movement is to keep the riders in front of a series of very large projection displays, which play the video that's synchronized with the robotic arm's movement. And there are also jets that simulate wind. It was a cool experience. I experienced most of the thrill of a roller coaster, but it wasn't so intense that I'd feel like I have to just clench my body and close my eyes. I was able to watch and enjoy the video. It wasn't quite as immersive as the Spider-Man ride. It definitely looked like there was a projection screen several meters in front of me, and that I was moving slightly relative to it. I wasn't quite sold on the suspension of disbelief that I were actually there in the scene. I liked it overall. We always look so bored in these pictures, and I enjoyed the ride. I did. Any time that I'm on a ride that moves around, I'm going to be at least slightly uncomfortable. Either I get knocked against the hard plastic of the seat, or the seat of my pants gets pulled up. And maybe that's reflected on my face. I don't scream on rides. That's idiotic. Instead, I use my focus to brace my muscles and try not to move around in the seat too much. On this ride, I also expended some attention to enjoy the video, so it didn't even occur to me that my expression should reflect my enjoyment of the ride. That was neither of the two tasks on my mind. So I was stuck with my original bored and uncomfortable look. It's not like I would know to pose for the camera anyway. I never see it coming. Also, why are Ron and Harry pointing into the distance with an aghast expression? They're literally doing the soy yak meme. I had never bought one of these overpriced amusement park pictures before, but I felt like I had to this time. It's just such a weird image. We chose to skip the Flight of the Hippogriff ride because we rode the equivalent version in the park in Florida when we were there only a few years ago. Oh boy, time to use the bathroom. I sure hope there's nothing weird in here. They put freaking moaning Myrtle in the bathroom. Not only that, the men's bathroom. I will say, that is a pretty funny and clever Easter egg, but it caught me off guard. I was like, who the fuck is moaning in here? This is the one area where I don't expect to experience environmental storytelling, and where I feel the most awkward getting a video to comment on it. We got some butter beer. It's interesting. It's like a frozen butterscotch soda. I would never drink this on a regular basis. It's far too sweet. I'd feel like a gluttonous beast. But as something I'm trying just once as a part of an experience, I liked it. We ended up back in the New York area, and we decided to stop for lunch at Louie's Pizza. I had pizza with mushrooms and honey. It was surprisingly good. Honey is such a nebulous condiment. It's a wild card. You don't know what it tastes good with until you try it. It may taste great, may taste awful.
That's Mama Luigi to you, Mario!
Let's do another roller coaster right after eating. Why not? This is Sadako's Curse, based on the horror movie Ring. This is what the locker key looks like. It's attached to a tight coiled bracelet so that I can keep it on me during the ride. See, this is a tasteful use of TV static for visual effect. I don't like how the analog horror fad of the past few years has encouraged gratuitous overuse of visual noise effects in media. Practice moderation. That was pretty underwhelming. It's another dark roller coaster, similar to Disney's Space Mountain. Over the course of the ride, the speakers play foreboding music and lines of dialogue that are based on the movie. There's occasionally a video screen at portions where the ride slows down. I didn't really find the sound design to be scary or interesting. It was more loud and obnoxious. I don't think that the ride matches the tone of the movie at all. By its nature, a roller coaster is intense and exciting, and you know what to expect going into it. That clashes with the mysterious and psychological atmosphere of the movie. This ride probably exists because a Universal executive wanted a dark roller coaster, and they needed to choose a movie to tie into it. And they went with Ring because it's one of the most famous Japanese movie, especially among international audiences, and its aesthetic can at least vaguely be described as dark. At least the waiting queue was fairly interesting. We caught the very end of a Pokemon Halloween parade as we exited the Sadako ride. We got back in time for our timed entry to the Biohazard attraction. This was a very cool experience. It combines several different entertainment media. The main portion of the attraction is like a haunted house. We walk through a whole maze of rooms that contain various zombies and spooky decorations. There's an actor who is dressed as a police officer and leads the group. He defends us from some of the weaker zombies and activates various switches and mechanisms. The actor speaks several lines of dialogue. There's a scripted storyline to the experience, so he tries to keep us moving at a predictable rate so that the other actors and mechanisms are set up with appropriate timing. And there are two different routes associated with the two playable characters of Biohazard 2. I arbitrarily chose Leon's route. I don't know how much the two routes differ, but they probably add a good deal of replayability. There's a scene in which an actor dressed as Leon fights an animatronic Mr. X as we escape. There's a video game portion at the end, which I did not expect to see. Each guest gets their own mounted machine gun, which we aim at the large video screen. Within the game, we shoot at a powerful mutant called a Super Tyrant until it's defeated. At the end, an animatronic Super Tyrant appears in the room with us. I enjoyed Biohazard the Extreme very much. I've really never experienced anything else like it. They gave out these cards to show that we completed the route with a rank of S. That's a cool souvenir. I wonder if it's even possible to lose the game, if one person on your team just doesn't shoot the gun. Let's take a look at some merchandise. This store is about half One Piece stuff. That series is clearly very popular right now, and there are a lot of Mario products. Oh, you wanted to buy a camera at the camera store? Nope! More Mario! We got a quick snack at a Mario-themed restaurant. These so-called pancake sandwiches definitely look appealing. The fruit and the cream were good, but the bread didn't taste anything like a pancake. It tasted similar to pumpernickel, of all things. Yeah, would not recommend. The peach soda was alright. Here's a little nook where we could get our picture taken with Spider-Man. The person behind us in line offered to take a picture of both of us together, so we thankfully handed our spare camera to them. But I guess they forgot to press the capture button, because we do not have that picture. Spider-Man rates this experience thumbs down. It's now 6:20, and it got dark all at once. The roller coasters look cool at night with their colored lights. This video is getting long, so I'll end it here. The final part of this series will be published next week, so please look out for it. It will cover the One Piece show, Super Nintendo World, and our departure from Japan. Thank you all for watching.